Like, why is somebody calling me right now out of all times? Nobody ever calls me, and now all of a sudden people want to call me. But today, yes, I'm extra. And I brought my microphone today because I felt like it. And I just feel like using it today. I'm feeling like it has better audio, and that's what I'm going to roll with. So I really wanted to touch on wealth. And when I'm talking about wealth, I'm not just talking about money. I'm not just talking about material things. Like, wealth is way beyond that. That's more so just the byproduct of already being internally wealthy, being internally rich, and rich in purpose, rich in like passion and pleasure, just really enjoying life and being fulfilled and bliss. We need to get back to that. I always say that society is so like unbalanced and unharmonious right now because we have people in roles that are unfulfilling. We have a system that is set up that is unpleasurable for everybody involved. Everybody that is a part of the system is not really enjoying it that much. That's why we see people that are rich, seemingly happy, seemingly great, and you don't really see them happy that much. You really don't see them just joyous and enjoying life. They're just too busy enacting their trauma on other people. But when I'm saying regaining wealth as well as in money, because when you regain your wealth and your passion and your purpose and your just being here and having fun and all of that power, when you regain that and along with money, because of the society that we live in, you also regain power, personal power, power in society. Believe it or not, that's how political campaigns are run. The people in power have money. That's how it works. That's how they're able to get sponsored. That's why you're seeing people with smaller platforms, people with smaller sponsorships. When people are doing political fundraisers, they're doing them to gain money to actually be able to travel and campaign. They're not just doing it just to have money. They need to pay their team. They need to pay people to actually be able to run the campaign for them and able to do all of that press to actually get their name out there, because a lot of times people just don't know who the candidates are. So when you have that money, that power, and that firm sense of self, like not that scared, lack, scarcity energy power, but like real power. And power comes from internally. Power comes from the inside. And that's why, unfortunately, a lot of ethnic groups, black, brown, indigenous people, minorities, are disempowered because we're so focused on survival. Not saying that survival isn't important. Survival is vital. When people talk about the hierarchy of needs and all of that jazz, survival and foundational stability is vital. It's literally the bottom tier. If you do not have that, you cannot focus on other things. And because we don't have that knowledge on how to properly use our money, how to properly have a good relationship with money, since we've had such trauma-induced things happen to us over the years related to money, we have a disempowered relationship with money. I really like holding this microphone. But we have a disempowered relationship with money. So when you're so focused on survival, you're living from a reactive state. When you're living from that reactive state, you're not able to look back and objectively see what's going on. You're not looking back and being able to see, okay, so if I do this right now, how is that going to pay off in the long run? Maybe me saving this right now is better for me than to go spend it on some frivolous activity. Not saying that you should deprive yourself, but we always come from this reactive survival state, always reacting to what we just did before, constantly reacting to the past instead of being able to respond in the present. And that's the problem. There's so many different ways that my brain can go, but people really are, especially now in our 20s, me being 25, obviously having friends around my age and just even having my sister's experiences and older people that I interact with experiences, people in their later years, like 30s, 40s, are catching up for the stuff that they did in their 20s while still having the same mindset and relationship with money. And because a lot of people make, like, money is such a taboo topic. Like, who made this such a weird topic? Even just jobs not allowing you to talk about your paycheck. That is a way of control. That is a way of them to be like, okay, well, this is how we can manipulate them and keep them in this survival state so that they don't have the means and the ability to leave this job. They're always, especially hourly jobs, they'd be so pressed when you actually wind up quitting. They taught us early that money is the root of all evil, which is so strange because that's not even the whole verse. That's not even the whole Bible verse. For some reason, I'm blanking on the rest, but if you look up that verse, it's more to that. It's not money is the root of all evil. Is the love, there we go. The love of money is the root of all evil. They always cut out that first part. The love of money is the root of all evil. The attachment to money, the greed, the lust for money is the root of all evil. Because when you're coming from that's still reactive, that scarcity and lack mindset, that there won't be enough for you, so you have to do sneaky, greedy ways to be able to keep and get more money. That's what they're doing. They're trying to get and hoard more money because they're scared of not having money. They're scared of not having the power. Look at how white people are reacting right now. Even just them throwing that temper tantrum in January. It's the fear of losing power because those in power have control. But if everybody is in power, if everybody is empowered, how do you gain control? How do you have an effective society? I don't know, because we haven't seen that. But maybe, just maybe, if there was an equal distribution of wealth, because just look at, even though the United States, America did terribly on the distribution of wealth, but look at around other countries just able to help out their citizens and distribute the wealth to keep the economy stimulated. How did they just pull it out? Like it came. It happened. Money is not scarce. Money is not a scarcity. It's not lack. It's always here. It's always being created. So if it's created for them, it can be created for us as well. So imagine if ethnic groups were able to be just as empowered and not working on this survival mode, not running off of this scarcity mindset, not just stuck in the everyday autopilot, if they were actually able to build up their communities. We wouldn't have to depend on the government to have after school programs. Me driving around my old neighborhood right now that used to have boys and girls clubs, libraries, all of that stuff now is fast food or just a lot because they don't care about it. So we need to care about it. And the only way that we could do that is in the society we live in is through money. So we need to heal our relationship with money. Because if you demonize money, if money is the root of all evil, are you going to want something that's gonna make you evil if you're not an evil person? If you're not feeling like you're abundant, if you're always down and having this distrustful relationship or this needy ass relationship with money, it's just like if somebody was coming after you like a stalker, if they were very needy, would you be responsive? Would you want to come more into their energy if you were always desperate? If they were always so desperate, always so needy, always so clingy? That's a turnoff, right? That's a turnoff for money because that's just how energy works. Like attracts like. And if money is not a desperate, needy energy, it's not going to attract to desperate, needy energy. But again, people that have money understand that money is power. Back to the politics things that I said earlier. They understand that. That's why this is such a secret, hidden in plain sight. Because if people are scrambling, if people are frazzled, if people are short on time because they're always working, because people think that the more they work, the more money they earn, and logically, yes, but you do not get to wealth just by trading your time for money. It's way beyond that. It's way outside of that. It's beyond you. It needs to be outside of you. It needs to be bigger than you. But they keep you working. If you're working, you can't go seek more knowledge and figure out how to fix your finances. If you're always at work, you're never at home to eat the groceries you're purchasing, so you keep eating food out, more money out the pocket. I always say it's not systemic, it's strategic. This is a strategy. There are bullet points. There is a map. They have it mapped out, and it's been mapped out for years. My husband just had to do, I don't remember what class it was, but it had something around him rereading the Willy Lynch letter. And me being the great writer that I am, I was helping him with the paper, so I had to reread the Willy Lynch letter. And those things are still so prevalent to this day, because keeping us divided is so lucrative. Keeping us enraged is so lucrative. If you're enraged, you can't see things clearly. If you do not process that cycle of trauma, you only see the world view from that space of trauma. And then nothing can really change. So if we're always scrambling for money, we need more conscious people with money. Thank God that the astrology and the stars and the planets are starting to line up for us now. Thank God. Because we needed it. That's why I made a video that Corona needed to happen on my YouTube channel. It needed to happen. Because the pattern needed to be disrupted. The planet needed to get off of autopilot. We needed to disrupt normal patterns. Things needed to be taken online. The age of Aquarius. Technology. Uniqueness. Revolutionary. Visionary. Can you guess what zodiac sign I am? I have so many Aquarius placements. So many Capricorn placements. I love money. And I used to be very ashamed about it, because money makes you greedy. Money makes you a bad person. Demonizing money. But then we want money. We want luxury. And it's not even that we want the money. We want what the money can give us. Stability, foundation, certainty. But guess what? You can give that to yourself first. You can become enriched first. And then that like will attract that like energy. It's going to love that energy. Because you already are it. Black people were royalty. Asians had royalty. Everybody had royalty. But they don't tell you that part in history class in school. They don't. They don't tell you how slavery really started. They don't even teach everybody slavery in the same way. I'm still learning to be the frequency I want to attract. And guess what? That frequency is going to change every day. That frequency is never going to be the same, and it shouldn't be. What was I just about to? I was thinking something. We're taught in a society that we have to try so hard to achieve what we want to achieve. People telling you that the harder you work, the more money you're going to earn. When in reality, the hardest working people are the poorest. The hardest working people have the least in funds. They're the ones striving the most. Because that's what we are taught. That's what we're programmed to believe. Again, strategic. This is on purpose. But when you start to regain some of your personal power, some of your sovereignty, they can't take that from you. They can't take something that's internal. They can strip away all the material things. They could take that away. But if you're fulfilled on the inside, if you're happy from within, if you're at peace with yourself, you're happy with yourself, you healed all your triggers yourself, things that are internal, and your wealth just comes from that natural energy of you just knowing yourself so well, being so in tune with yourself. Your energy, that is priceless, because somebody can't take that from you. Somebody cannot remove your personal energy. They can't take your power outside of your body. Your cells are vibrating at every moment. When you get excited, they vibrate even faster. When you're down, they vibrate slower. Somebody can't reach in and stop your cells from vibrating. Somebody can't stop your cells from vibrating. There's no science for that unless they kill you. But even then, energy can't be destroyed. It can only be transmuted. So as you see that your energy is always there. You just have to tap into it. You have to become. People always talk about be, do, have. So you have to be. So think about, what does that person do? What new beliefs need to come into tag? What do I believe right now that is keeping me? How am I demonizing money in a way that's repelling money against me? Am I being desperate for money? Am I needy for money? And a really quick way to say this is, if you got a job that was paying you, let's say, $100,000 a year, but it was not fulfilling you at all, and you wanted to switch jobs to something that was more fulfilling for you, something that was more in alignment, something that you actually wanted to do, but they were paying you less, would you keep the job that wasn't fulfilling you, or would you go to the job that was paying you less? And most people would keep the job that wasn't fulfilling them just because it was paying them more. Somebody would accept the job because it was paying them more, even though it wasn't a job that they 100% wanted. Because they thought, when you're coming from a reactive state, the ego feels like there's never going to be anything better. The ego feels like you're just all that's here, because we do live in the present moment. This is the only thing that's going to be presented to us. But if you come from this abundant mindset and know that, no, when you're saying no to one thing, you're saying yes to something else. And having that secure relationship with money that you don't need to go and chase it. You don't need to chase the bag. You are the bag. I really hate when people say, I'm about to go chase the bag. Why? It's going to continue to run away from you. So, just like if you're going to chase a dude, if you're going to chase a girl, the more you chase, the more they want to wait. It's not playing hard to get. It's playing, I don't want you in that energy. Come to me in a different energy. You know, some people like when people are secure in their own energy. So much so that they be like, oh, you're dope. I like that energy. I like that vibe. Because you're just yourself. You don't have to be anything else. We're taught that we always have to prove ourselves, prove our intelligence with grades. I was so unmotivated in high school because I went to a performance arts high school and we had to prove ourselves, prove that we learned this technique, prove that we're good enough dancers with these evaluations, and not just letting us learn, letting us grow the way that we grow. It was always trying to push us to be something else, to be someone else, have a different body type, learn this way, have this behavior, have this attitude, and that way you will be successful. But as you learn and grow, you know that not one way works for everybody. There's no one right way to get money. You can get money from doing everything. I was talking to a client the other day, and she was just like, she didn't really know what to charge, or if she should really be charging for doing people's hair, because she was just so natural at it. Could she just be a braider? Yes. Because specialized people get more money than generalized people. If you're going to get brain surgery, you're going to a neurosurgeon, not an ER doctor. They're different specialties, so they get paid different amounts. Specialization. That's important. Specializing in something is important. If you have cancer, like when my mom was going to chemotherapy, she was not going to her primary care physician to get chemotherapy. She went to a specialist. She went to a specialization center that dealt with breast cancer specifically. You see these words, these keys that people don't teach you? People teach you to put your eggs in every basket. Don't have your egg in one basket. But having your egg in one basket is what gets you to scale. That's what gets you to elevate. Not saying that you can't do it in a different way, because we're all different. Yes, I'm a spiritual advisor. Yes, that's what I am. But I talk about money. I'm an intuitive. I'm an empath. I talk about money because money is too taboo not to talk about, because it's important, especially in the society that we live in. We're not meant to be hermits. We're not meant to be martyrs. People have this false idea that you have to be, if you're religious or if you're spiritual, then you should be in poverty as well, suffering, because suffering is the only way that you're connected with the divine, creator, infinite spirits, God, however you address the higher power. But once your needs are met, once you're in that richness, once you're enriched, once you're empowered, and your needs are met, you have more time to find what you love and make it your spiritual practice. You have more time to tune in with yourself. You have more time of stillness. You have more time to get in pleasure. You have more time for bliss. You have more time for fun, for joy, for happiness, for time with your loved ones, time with your family. Because all of your other needs are met. There's no worry in that department. Does that mean that there are no challenges? Absolutely not. That's how you learn. That's how you grow. You need adversity. Adversity is naturally built into the program, into the universe, into the game, however you want to call it. Wow. Ah, what just happened? Okay. There we go. And a lot of people just ignore the topic because it makes them uncomfortable. Talking about money makes you uncomfortable because we have made it uncomfortable as a society. We've normalized not talking about it. We've normalized keeping it hush hush. We've normalized playing small, because people only get rich if they're born rich or if they're lucky, right? But we're in a different age now. Everything is more accessible now. We have more opportunity. We are more privileged. Yes, everybody is privileged, especially if you live in America or the North America, United States. You are privileged. If you're not homeless, you are privileged. Everybody has different privileges. Okay? So, once you tap into your natural gifts, your natural talents, become empowered, take back your sovereignty, and we close the wealth gaps between the ethnic groups, and more diversity comes into the places of power. I remember a while back I did a poll on my story on Instagram, and I asked if more women, more Black women specifically, should be in places of power. And so many people said, no, we don't need to be in places of power. Why? Why don't we need to be in the room with the higher ups? Why don't we need to be on the board of directors at companies? Why don't we need to be running corporations? Why shouldn't we be millionaires supporting political parties? Why shouldn't we be able to give back? Why shouldn't we be a normal on panels? Why shouldn't that cultural diversity, that cultural knowledge, that cultural expansion be a norm? That's for all cultures. You should learn about different cultures. That's wealth and knowledge, wealth and wisdom. Because when you have that diversity in the knowledge, when you have that diversity in your wisdom, in your belief system, you have a more diverse view and perspective of the world. So you can work on what's best for the collective, what's best for humanity, along with what's in most alignment with you, what brings you the most pleasure. Ooh, my neck. That usually means I'm talking my shit. So if you're a conscious creator, if you're a spiritual person, if you're a soul-led person, if you're a heartfelt person, if you're a person filled with compassion and empathy, and you care about helping other people, because I know a lot of my friends, a lot of people I talk to, their ultimate goal is to always help other people. And I love that. So people want to help other people. But how? You're here with a certain amount of gifts. You're here with different talents for a reason. You're here with different passions from other people for a reason. Everybody doesn't have the same knowledge. Everybody doesn't have the same passions. Everybody doesn't have the same body types. Everybody doesn't have the same learning styles, the same psychology, the same belief systems, the same backgrounds for a reason. That's a grand design. That's the balance. That's the harmony. So that people want to do different things. So that the different roles in society can be properly fulfilled. And that everybody can be living in bliss and harmony from that. You being you helps other people. Because you vibrating in your unique energy. You vibrating in your pleasure and your bliss. And your flow. And helping other people. In the process, being in service to what's best for the collective as well as what's best for you. Do you know how magnetic that is? Do you know how authentic and genuine that feels to create that community of people doing what they want to do? Do you know how magnetic it is to be so wealthy in yourself, so enriched in yourself? People are always asking me, what are you doing differently? What have you been doing? How do you do that? Very easily. By learning to be more myself. As well as getting the knowledge and the financial literacy to take care of my finances. And healing my relationship with money so that it's not uncomfortable for me to hold money. People love to manifest money, but what you gonna do when you get it? You're gonna blow through it? Do you know somebody that wins the lottery is more likely to file for bankruptcy than somebody who did it? Why? Because they misplayed that money. They were using that money to do something that they were never able to do before, instead of looking back at an objective standpoint and being like, okay, but what if I do this right now? Where will I be in a couple months, in a few years? How will this affect me then? Gambling, going on trips, getting houses, but getting mortgages, buying more houses. Buying more cars. Because people don't teach you to invest. They think, oh, that's too hard. Can't invest because then I'm going to lose it all. I have to use it while I still have it because I don't want somebody else to come and take it from me. Or you just naturally feel uncomfortable having the money. So you just feel like you have to keep doing, and making up for feeling less than before, buying things that you were never able to buy before because there's an emotion attached to it, that meaning that's attached to it, that uncomfortability around money. But when you notice that uncomfortability, when you become aware and take a step back and then realize you need to be conscious with the wealth. Conscious capitalism could be fantabulous. It's the fact that the way that capitalism is manipulating the way society is run, the system, the strategy, that is the problem. That is not great for the collective. So the more people that actually want to help people, the more people that actually want to do good and make great positive impact in the world, the people that want to rebuild the communities, those are the people with the money. Those are the people that can redistribute the wealth, that can help build up instead of tear down. Do you see how beneficial that would be? Do you see how much of a better solution and a more harmonious solution that would be? I'm running out of, I need some water. My mouth be getting so dry. Sorry, y'all, if you don't like to hear people swallow. But if you talk, then you know your mouth gets dry. So, where was I? If you have a question, I would love to drop it in the comment box or the question box down below, because I will take questions if you have one. But it really bothers me often when I see people saying that you shouldn't care about money. Yes, you should. You do care about money. Everybody wants money because that's the way the society has been set up, to want money. So the moment you stop demonizing money, the more you stop putting money on a pedestal and thinking it as something outside of you, as something that you can't achieve, as something that is just beyond you and impossible for you. Once you get out of that mindset, once you change that idea and connect with money on a different energetic, magnetic level and become appealing to money, it can just flow into you naturally. And appreciate what you do have instead of being like, okay, well, I only have $5. If somebody depreciated your value like that, would you want to come near them? No. When people don't appreciate you in relationships, do you stay in the relationship? Usually not. If people don't appreciate your friendship, you take your energy back. You fall back from them because they're not appreciating your value. So think of that in everything. If you're not appreciating money, if you're just like, oh, that's just a penny, oh, that's just 5 cents, seeing how that repels it. If you're in that needy energy, that desperate energy space, that you just need to have money, you just have to do this, you're clinging on to money so hard that you don't never let it breathe. You don't never let it go. You don't never spend it or invest it in yourself. It's not going to want to come back to you because you're not finishing out that cycle. It's a cycle. The circle of money, if you will. The circle of life for money. And once you learn this, buying things is so easy. Not saying that you should go all willy-nilly, because that's the problem. People not able to hold on to their money. Not able to save. That's the problem. But once you're able to do it consciously, like, nah, I want to do that because it'll make me feel opulent. I want to do that because it'll fulfill me. I want to do that because it'll enrich me in my knowledge, in my brain, in my skill set. People are so scared to invest in themselves because they think it won't be valuable or think it won't work. How will you know if you don't try? And B, there's usually value in everything that you're being called to do. Even if it's as simple as buying yourself a coffee. If you go in that coffee shop and you've just met the person to network and set your whole career off, what would have happened if you talked to yourself out of going to that coffee shop? You don't see the little spike. Nothing is coincidence. You can choose to look at it as a coincidence, but things are usually not a coincidence, especially if they're random and you're just like, oh, I should do this for myself. And you talk yourself out of it because you're like, damn, I'm going to lose $4 by spending it on some coffee. No. Go get the goddamn coffee. Go buy the fucking purse. Go buy the fucking course. Who said learning stopped once you graduated college, once you graduated high school? That's what they want you to believe. College is you just proving that you went to class. The knowledge is everywhere. The knowledge is all around you. You have Google, books, textbooks that you can just buy. You don't have to be in, they don't say type in your school code in order to buy a book. You can buy the book at any time. You don't need to go to college. You don't need to be in a school setting to learn. That's a myth. That's a false belief. We just tell ourselves that we don't have time. Tell ourselves stories around learning. Yeah, buying courses is much easier. I do that because I don't want to search for the probable and correct information or different ways of integration, because there's a boatload of information and not many people teaching integration and implementation. So those are the people I more lean towards. But knowing how to use things in the proper manner and saving time, because time is also one of your most valuable assets, your time and your energy. Because if you find something that can save you time and you feel like you should invest in it, invest in it. Because the faster that you start to implement things, the faster that the wealth can grow for you. The faster that you heal your relationship with money, the more that you can actually start building that generational wealth and leaving that legacy, having that lineage, having that literacy, that management, that mindset, so that you're not blowing through your money, that you're not telling your story about wealth, so that you're not repelling money from coming into your orbit, so that you're not having these energetic gaps. And when you heal one area in your life, it catapults. It's a snowball effect. You just start to naturally heal other ones, because that mindset shifts. It's a domino effect. So don't think just by doing this, caring just about money is only going to become me a superficial person. I don't just care about money. But money is important. Money is the society that we live in. Money is power, personal freedom. If you ask anybody, I ask anybody their goals, they're like, well, financial stability, financial freedom, that luxury of choice to do whatever you want, whenever you want to, and not have to save up to do something. That's a luxury. Not buying designer stuff. That's luxury items. There's leisure items, but the real luxury is just having the choice to do whatever the fuck you want to do. And who has the choice to do that? Wealthy people. Who has the luxury of worrying about that? Wealthy people. And how do people get wealthy? By managing their finances, by healing their relationship with money, by being able to keep money. And not saying that all wealthy people have a healthy relationship with money, because they don't. I remember in the Kevin Hart documentary, he said that he worked so hard because he didn't want to ever have a period of him not working and then his finances plummet. That's also an unhealthy relationship with money. And if you look at your attachment style, you'll be able to see kind of where your relationship with money is, where your relationship with money lies, and how you are essentially most attached to money. Your love language as well. It's beyond just the 3D physical. It affects every aspect. All your aspects connect. Everything is in connection. And when you have every aspect of life in harmony and not neglecting those, because what you neglect, it essentially builds up and it persists. And then you become resentful of money. You become resentful of people that have money. That's why when people get money, they lose a lot of relationships. Not because they become a different person, but because the people around them become different people. Because of the resentment they feel with their own relationship with money. So that's why I say it's important to close the wealth gaps. Because when you close the wealth gaps, you're no longer solely in survival mode. You can think beyond just the current right now moment. You can think beyond how this will make you feel. You can think objectively and pleasurably. It can be balance. You don't always have to be in this reactive, responsive energy. You really don't. Because when you're out of that, because then you get, that's how people get buyer's guilt, because then they bought it and now they feel guilty for buying it. So then they keep going in the back and forth like, oh, I really wanted this, but then I bought it and now I don't feel great about it because I spent that money and I shouldn't have spent that money, in this whole cycle. That's not fun. If you're buying something in that energy, that's not fucking fun. That's not pleasurable. You're not going to want to keep buying things because you're buying from that still scarcity energy. If you're buying it because you're doing it to make yourself appear better or stop getting judgments or get people to like you, that's still not the correct energy, because it's still not coming from a pleasurable energy. It's not coming from bliss. It's not coming from fulfillment. So having that luxury of choice and awakening that choice and tapping into that just energy where abundance is always coming to you, that prosperity drops in your lap like it's nothing, then the power can be reclaimed and diversified. And solutions can be had to the horrific systems that are in place right now. But we need more people that are conscious, that are that are empathic, that are compassionate, that actually care about the well-being of humanity and just people being able to live safely every day in humanity. We need those people to get money. We need us to get the money. And this is the time to do it. This is the time to get into entrepreneurship. This is the time to have side hustles. This is the time to diversify your income. This is the time to get out to pay your financial duty and heal your relationship with debt. But that's a whole nother live. Can't even talk about debt in here, because then I'll go on for a whole nother hour. But when you heal that and you tap into that frequency, that flow, because we're also really breaking down the patriarchal system. I can't talk today. But that masculine wounded energy, we're breaking down that system. We're getting out of that masculine needing to always be on go, on demand all the time, and frantic energy all the time. We're getting out of that, because that's not the key to success, especially not for everybody. That's not the key to fulfillment. That's not the key to happiness, to always be on the go. It's really not. It's really actually pretty toxic. And that's the toxic masculinity that we've grown up with and been conditioned with. That we be rewarded for hard work. That we're rewarded for always being on the go. But the harder you work, sorry to say, is not how much more money you're going to get. CEOs make the most money and do the least amount of work. That should break that belief right there. That should tear down that belief and idea right there. CEOs make the most money and do the least amount of work. Why? Because of the expertise, because of the skill set, because of the years and years of experience, because of it being their passion. And them knowing that how to get there, that literacy, tapping into that natural energy, that got them there. So that's where my channel ends. And even just tapping into one of my one-on-one containers even more. Like letting them understand that money is not the root of their problems. Their relationship with money, our relationship with wealth, our relationship with wealthy people, that the rich get richer and the poor get poorer, our relationship with that idea is the problem and why we're repelling money so much. So the more that people that are conscious and caring and compassionate, the people that care about making positive impacts on the world, the more that we get the money, the more that we distribute it, the more that we use it in the right ways to make positive correcting impacts, positive solutions for the collective in a holistic view. then the power, it gets better. I'm getting distracted because my kids are crying, so I'm gonna go. Thank you for chatting with me today. And I'm probably gonna start doing these on a more consistent basis because I like them. But I'm gonna go because my kids are crying. So, toodaloo.